we'll move on right now, and then go to the Supreme Court first. But we are going to the Supreme Court first to deal with, see how we can quickly deal with the matters of the reports of the Attorney General clashing with Martin Amidu, and then we would spend the rest of the time dealing with election issues. Of course, the election issues will go back to the Supreme Court, right? Now, as you know, Martin Amidu has been to the Supreme Court on Thursday, and what was he seeking? He was seeking to be given the opportunity to be the one to question Woyome, Alfred Agbesi Woyome, over the 51 million. Now he's no more 51 million, he's paid 4 million. The 51 million Ghana cedis that was given to him by what one of the judges described in the Supreme Court's judgment in July 2014 as create, loot, and share. He sought to want to examine him to find a way to know what he has, who owes him, and so on, so that he can get the money for the state. And as you know, the reports have been that the Attorney General was in court and seeking to resist Woyome from collecting our money for us. Is that really what it is? We'll get into those details. But before that, just yesterday, you heard that judges of the lower court have threatened a strike by the 20th of this month if their consolidated salaries approved sometime in 2012 is not giving them. Attorneys, state attorneys are on strike. The JUSAC, Judicial Service staff, who are also supposed to be working around the court and all of these things, filing all the processes, they too have threatened because their needs have not been met for a while now. It sounds strange that judges are threatening strike, isn't it? Joining us on the line is His Honor Abuaji Tando. He's a judge of the Circuit Court, and he is speaking on behalf of his colleagues. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on Newsfile.
Good morning, Thompson, and good morning to your cherished listeners, as well as the prominent panelists that you have, two of whom are my very good friends, Honorable Omane Boama and Michael Kwe.
Okay. Now, like I said earlier, it's very strange that judges are going on strike. Never heard of that before. In Akan or Chi, they will say, "Mente humpenyin samuda."
But that's why I think this issue will be resolved and will not end into any strike if really we cherish our democracy. And as I speak to you, we have been notified that the council has taken over the matter, and therefore the council will be meeting on Monday to interrogate the issues.
Which council are you referring to? The Judicial Council?
Yes, the Judicial Council, of which I'm a member. And
okay.
So I will be very brief and reluctant in going into the details of the issues, so that when we meet, we can put our issues on the table. I respect the council, and it's made up of very prominent personalities who have expertise in various fields. And I can assure you, if you have a copy of the constitutional service of the lower court benches, nobody will tell you here on earth or in heaven that there was any mistake, in spite of the reported committees that have been set up to bring out a mistake.
Okay, you talk about new developments overnight, and so you are going to council and to hope that things will change. But this is the council that approved these salaries for you as far back as November 2012, isn't it? November 2011, and then the presidency also went ahead to give the approval as required by the Constitution for exactly. your salaries by the 21st of March 2012, and yet exactly. we are talking in 2016, almost end of the year, and nothing has happened. You're going back to the same council to do what?
Well, if you regard the council, and the council calls you that this issue has come up again, and we are going to take it up and take a decision with the current development, I don't think you ignore that. I don't think so. In also the issue that concerns us most is that it was one of the legacies left behind by His Excellency Professor Ivan Zatamels, which we think nobody should dare disturb the legacy he left behind. He had a reason for approving what he approved. Those who were alive then, His Excellency Izana, the former Chief of Staff, he's still alive. He's a member of the Council of State. All the prominent members who were constituted on behalf of the Council to work on the constitutional service are all alive. You'll be surprised that a committee that was set up never invited any of these prominent persons even to come and give their view of it. I can assure you that I've been a member of the council for the past 6 years, 1 year of which I went to study in UK. And I can assure you that I was at the castle when we met the government then who told us how they came up with their conclusion to approval of the conditions. So,
I see.
Former Chief of Staff Newman, he's still alive. He will tell you, I won't speak for him.
Okay.
Exactly what he told us. That the president then said as reasons for approving. None of the people who said they find a mistake were alive. And the issue is very simple. If you say that there was a mistake because the relativity says in future, or this should be the difference between the various types of the judiciary, because it is in absolute figures, should have been in percentages. Would this be wrong?
Okay, so I've heard you earlier, and now you seem to have a little hope that something good is going to happen. But what exactly is the point of your problem? The council had approved.
You know the judiciary, you know
right.
the seriousness of the judiciary administration.
Right.
And I can assure you that nothing should be done to disturb the judges of this nation.
Yes, my question is, what are you asking? What have you been denied, which you are asking for, and has not been giving you all this while?
I can assure you that nothing has, apart from the application of the condition of service for the judges. Recently, 10% was given to the Superior Court judges, which is applicable per the conditions of service of the lower bench, which was not applied. And we were assured that it was going to be applied, only to be told that a new salary structure is being introduced. That is what the problem is.
Okay, a new salary structure. Are you referring to the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission?
Not at all. We are not under fair wages. You
right. The Constitution is very clear. I'm aware of that.
We have
yes.
Article 71. We also have Article 149, and it's a constitutional provision.
Okay.
So the framers of the Constitution knew why they came up 149.
Why have you not had these salaries upgrades, which were approved long ago? Why have you not had them up to now?
We have had all the upgrades as I speak to you, even to date.
Okay.
I can assure you, except that from time to time, when the staff go for an improved conditions, then they tell them or when the AG goes for improved conditions, then they tell them, look, there is a law that says you should be at par with the lower court bench. But we are telling you that even what has been given to the lower bench is a mistake, so don't agitate. Can that be a resolution of a matter?
I see. There have been a 10% salary raise for Superior Court judges or High Court judges, and that ought to apply to you, which you are not getting. That's the main issue, isn't it?
Exactly.
And how long has this been?
Since May this year. We were notified since May this year. But I can assure you that even this, at the time one that of the parliamentarians was upgraded, and then the Superior Court judges agitated, and it was applied, which of course I can assure you was even wrongly applied. And we are saying that apply the 10% also to the lower bench. Very simple terms. Nothing more, nothing less. This salary that the lower bench are taking is since 2012.
Okay.
So if you are giving somebody a salary from 2012, and you are giving a 10% increment and apply it, you are saying that if it was a mistake. If you have a copy of the document, just go through and see whether you could come to a conclusion of a mistake on the condition of service of the lower bench.
Okay, so if I understand you clearly, it says the 10% that was done recently for your colleagues high up there, who, according to the committee that studied and approved your relativities, almost enter at the same qualification as you also do, apart from the career magistrates. That was giving them, yours has not happened. It does not include questions of what you were demanding earlier about security and furnished accommodation and all that.
At all.
Okay.
But you see, we saw the delay as a decoy to deprive the lower bench in the continued application of their condition of service.
Okay.
Which has resurfaced time and again. And we are saying that there should be a stop to that.
Okay.
Lower court benches must be respected. There are people who do their work diligently, in spite of all the challenges we have with judges. I'm not saying we are angels, but they are dedicated. I can assure you, some of us were working with the UN before we joined the bench. So it's not like everybody has come just to amass wealth. We left the UN money to come and work as judges, and the records are there.
Okay.
So nobody should think that we also love Ghana. We are prepared to serve our nation. And we are saying that this must stop. Judges should not be mingling with people and making agitations.
All right.
They are very level-headed people.
All right.
We should not provoke them.
Okay. So you are saying that, look, your threat of a strike on the 20th will happen if nothing happens. The JUSAC are threatening strike equally. We know they went on strike, they came back. State attorneys are on strike, and you are also threatening a strike.
I can assure you, if and it's my fervent suggestion, if government will listen to the Judicial Council, there will be no problem with the judiciary.
Okay.
And judicial service, whether the staff, whether the judiciary, if they listen to the Judicial Council, I can assure you, you will not hear anything of strike, anything of agitation from the judiciary, which is a secret institution and has been so. We should leave it as such.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Most welcome.
That is Judge of the Circuit Court. His name is Abuaji Tando and speaks for his colleague judges of the lower bench. Well, he says some of them have come from the UN and all other places, and it's not because they came to Ghana because they wanted to make a lot more money. Obviously, to receive a salary of less than 4,000 will not be a motivation to leave a UN job. But how does it come to you, Mike, that judges are threatening strike? Because they feel they are being unfairly dealt with. 10% ought to be the increment that they ought to receive, which has been approved at the Judicial Council level and also at the level of the presidency. That's the constitutional provision that the council will put forward their salaries and then the president will approve it. The president approved that, and that is not happening. Their colleagues are getting it.
Well, it's very good that the lawyers should start on this. We know that judges are affected, but I would have loved to hear from the Minister of State why they are not paying them that money. And these are my reasons. I think that there's a total or lack of respect for the lower members of the judiciary, as the Association of Magistrates and Judges of Ghana have come to enlighten us recently. Samson, are you aware that they threatened to strike, you remember, in October? That's one of the latest. Then they were talked to, then now they threatened again in November, i.e. November 21st. What is the problem? The problem is simple. The NDC government, a while back in 2012, I think about July, agreed on a 10% increase for judges. I cannot, for any reason, understand. In fact, I can't think far why they will pay the superior court judges their money, and as to the lower courts, they won't pay them their 10% increase. Meanwhile, under this NDC, You know, when they came into power, they've got 100% increase. Manibwa City as minister, 100% increase from 4,000 to 8,000, or if it's not 10,000 for I think cabinet ministers.
It's not
Please,
true.
how much is your pay?
It's not true. Please.
You mean there's been an increase on the Irama Day report on their emoluments?
You know that even as we speak now, and I want him to tell me, say it's not true. How much was President Kufuor getting? How much is President John Mahama getting?
Oh, but we knew through the Irama Day report how much you're supposed to get.
Thank you. So you have gotten your pay increase. In fact, their pay increase is so much that they decided to give 10% to Chiefs Compound.
I thought that was supposed to be applauded.
Applauded how?
They wanted to
you
sacrifice
pay
to
some
assist.
people their money, you increase yours by 2, and then you go and pretend for propaganda's sake that you are so charitable that you can give 10% off. Why don't we use that 10% to pay the judges? From the consolidated fund, reduce their money and pay the judges, instead of using your inflated money for propaganda. Is it right?
I thought this was supposed to be a matter of a discussion about government rather than party.
It's government.
Thank you.
It's government. We are talking about government because cabinet ministers pay and ministers pay. Is it not government? The increase of the president's pay, is it not government?
Yes,
is
but you are saying party. You are talking about the party.
Well, then maybe,
rather than the government.
because it's NDC government. So if you prefer the terminology, government, NDC government. So the government, they have increased their pay. We all know. Or you don't know?
You're saying that you really wanted to know the facts, and ahead of knowing the facts, this is the accusation you make. Let's hear what Dr. Manubau has to say about it.
Something, I want to appeal to the judges to, as he has indicated, allow the council to work, because I know that
Did they have to take a threat also for the council to come in now and say they should come back?
No. I know the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, the Attorney General, Marita Birapio-Opon, and the Finance Minister, they've been working on this. You can call them separately. Even on Thursday, this matter was discussed thoroughly. Because it borders on incomes of people, and we are talking about judges. I wouldn't want to delve extensively into the nuances and everything.
Yeah, that's delicate. They handle cases involving hefty amounts, and you don't want them to be tempted and all. At the level of the career magistrate, they're taking somewhere around 2,500 or so, and they ought to enjoy their increments.
And even also in relation to what Professor Mills, as the judge was referring to and all, I've said there's no need going into the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
Because it borders on salaries. But I was very happy you cautioned Mike. In fact, it is for such caustic intrusions into discussions. That is why sometimes we carry some of these documents. There is a communique issued by the Ghana Medical Association on July 22, 2006, how the government of Ghana, under the New Patriotic Party, was messing up a negotiated agreement. Okay? You can read it so that if that will help you. But
it's not a subject.
Exactly.
For this morning.
So don't create.
The question was how much is their pay?
Don't create an impression, okay, that a future MPP government or a previous MPP government never had issues with salaries of public sector workers and all. I'm telling you here and now that interventions are taking place. Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Marita Birapio-Opon, and Honorable Setekwe are working.
Do these interventions include to cater for the JUSAC people and the state attorneys who are on strike now?
I know.
Now, if you go around the court, you find that work that involves the state in court has completely come to a halt.
I know in the discussions, and I was there in the discussions, all these categories were mentioned. And for very good reasons, not going deep into the genesis of this whole issue that we are discussing now. I mean, there's even one aspect of it that went all the way to the Supreme Court by someone. I don't know if you are aware.
I'm aware.
Great. Here we are, because it has to do with the compensation of judges. You are also not going to say that if the matter goes to court, it shouldn't be judges sitting on it. Do you get it? It is not the best for us to delve into these matters.
But it is bad
now.
that it gets to
but
this
what
point.
I'm saying, yeah,
It's bad that it gets to this point.
The point I'm making,
and see, I'm saying so with also the benefit. For example, at the Attorney General's Department, you find that now when you go to court and there are matters about the Attorney General, it is either the Attorney General herself or her deputy, and one or two others who have decided to sacrifice and stay on. So almost all the cases involving the state are being adjourned.
Yeah, Samson. The fact is a solution being worked on? Yes, a solution is being worked on.
4 years.
You see, look, in this document I'm holding, doctors.
Why are you being tempted to get back there? You are addressing this quickly.
As fresh as doctors and under the MPP, we decided that salaries must be withheld for a period so that this could be resolved. It was still not resolved. Please.
Okay.
Let's get
this was supposed to be very brief, so we can move on to Wyoming matter, clear that quickly and move on to elections, because that's where we are getting to. How do you feel that judges are out there in the public? And I think,
Samson,
is it a press conference they held or something, complaining about their salaries?
Samson, just one quick thing, because when you moved in very quick, I just wanted to make this clear, that not only has that been agreed, but for them to receive a letter from the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, trying to vary it, it's unfair. And this thing is so serious, I don't know why he's telling me that, why are we trying to politicize this? It is a matter of the Ministry of Finance supposed to pay. It is the Chief of Staff who has written to them. I'm sure you're aware of that letter. Trying to vary. Can you imagine? Something that has been agreed already. You are not even saying that, oh, wait, we are going to pay you the backlog. You are now trying to actually vary it and not pay the 10%. That is not acceptable.
By the, help me understand a bit quickly here.
Yes.
By the constitutional provision in Article 149, it says that judicial officers shall receive such salaries, allowances, facilities, and privileges and other benefits as the President may, acting on the advice of the Judicial Council, determine. Do you have the feeling that since this structure was approved in Prof. Mills's time, the presidency does not have the power to attempt to vary it?
Well, in fact, even more so, because when the president agreed it to, he agreed for all judges. Not that strategically, because they want the big boys to keep quiet. They pay them their money, and then the younger ones, or the, what I'll say, the lower courts, as for that one, you haven't taken care of them. If they knew they want to vary it, they should vary it throughout.
Okay.
Samson,
well,
he's so obsessed with the word vary. Okay, in this letter, July 2006, July 22,
the Ghana Medical Association.
Just that paragraph, that there's a subtle attempt to vary the conditions of service, which did not form part of the negotiations of basic salary, i.e., a possible attempt to abolish the payment of car maintenance allowance and fuel allowances and all. My brother, you will not.
So you're saying the Kufuor government attempted to also do a similar thing?
They never did.
You see, the point I'm making is
supposed to be a justification.
No. I've never said so. And the point I'm making here is, out of respect for workers, I don't discuss the nitty-gritties of their compensation.
If you respect them, pay them.
You understand?
Simple.
Of their compensation.
Thank you. Doc, what do you say?
Have you forgotten your question in the midst
my
of
question was,
in the midst of all of this?
How does it feel to get to know that judges are getting out there in the public complaining about their
I think
pay?
it's more than, it's not even, we always say, oh, this is unfortunate. It's more than unfortunate. It's a shame. We should all feel shamed that such sensitive and key members of our public service have had to come out in this way. I mean, I'm not like privy or I don't know the exact details of it. And one thing that struck me was when His Honor, was it Abuaji Tando, was speaking, and he said, well, if the government would take heed or pay attention to the Judicial Council, then most of these matters would be resolved. So what is the impediment? What really is it? Because if it's something that's been agreed upon and parties involved agreed,
yes.
and there's not been implemented,
they as an association submitted their proposal to the council.
Yes.
The council set up a committee
Yeah.
of very eminent people, and they came to their conclusions and recommendations of the relativities they think should be fair to them as the lower court judges. And then that was subsequently forwarded to the presidency, and the presidency duly approved it.
What's the problem?
And now that is what is being implemented. But when it comes to the increment, where they are entitled to 10%, their colleagues high up are getting, but they are being denied. That's their claim.
Answered my question. What is the problem? Because for those of us, and I agree with Dr. Manibwama, labor agitations happen throughout the years.
They're normal feature, right?
They're normal. However, there seems to be an increased occurrence of it happening recently. And I'm thinking of the country as a whole. Well, it makes us unproductive. Critical sectors are not working. How does that affect us? I don't know how much we quantify these things, but now you say the state attorneys are on strike. So state business in that regard is completely grounded to a halt, and it affects everybody. So, I don't think you need to be a top labor expert or whatever to think. I think really and truly, out of respect for the profession, out of respect for the service that they provide for this country, we need to look, why is it that that aspect is not being implemented, and just implement it.
Okay. Right, Kweku.
Well. It's about money?
Yes.
Maybe we still haven't recovered from the state from which we chewed the meat to the bone. It means simply we are broke. There's no money in the state coffers to pay them. Let's be honest, we don't have the money. If we don't have it, we ask, where is the money? Where did it go? I don't understand it. To the extent that you have such a delicate sector publicly articulating their discontent, and it's all about money. Don't get me wrong, I think there's money. But where is it? Why aren't we applying it for the right purposes? I'm sure the minister will give us a more credible answer. But otherwise, it just doesn't. Sooner than later, of course, the law wouldn't allow it, but don't be surprised if you get security personnel, all of them agitating publicly. That's a mess. That's something you don't need to see. To the extent that you now have people in the judicial system articulating publicly their discontent. We're not talking of state attorneys and the judicial staff. We are talking here of the judicial officers, those who...
The judges.
The judges. It ought not to happen. It means they are at the level of such a deep-seated, deep-rooted frustration and disappointment and discontent.
And has put his cameras on them recently, and some, unfortunately, were caught taking goats.
Atuguba said
Yes,
this is one of the problems that would arise.
Yes, Justice Atuguba of the Supreme Court recently made a statement to that effect.
Yes, but I don't want to be invited to rationalize that.
Okay.
Yes.
No, but you ought to avoid that temptation,
isn't it? Yeah, I declined the invitation to rationalize.
So how much are you going to be paid?
But that was used to pay the policemen higher to stop them from bribing.
To serve
all right.
But Samson,
okay.
Let me,
quickly, do 1 minute so we can move on.
The temptation, the temptation to get into the root cause is becoming stronger and stronger.
I think you should.
You understand?
For the purposes of
the temptation,
enlightening the public.
The temptation to get into the root cause is becoming stronger and stronger.
I think you should.
And I'm saying that you are aware that this case, the mother of it, went all the way to the Supreme Court. You are aware?
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay. So at least for the period that this case was at the Supreme Court, what was supposed to be happening. The point I'm making is, do we have a solution being worked at? Yes, there's a solution.
Can I understand you? Can my viewers and listeners understand you? You're saying that some of the Superior Court judges may have taken a matter to court, and on the basis of that, you were under an injunction not to pay, or what?
This was not even some of the Superior Court. Rather, it was somebody who took the matter to court.
That's correct, yeah.
You get it? It was somebody who took the matter to court concerning whether a president could vary. And I'm getting there, whether a president could vary that. And the answer was that a president could vary.
Down.
Not down, please. Please.
Because Article 71 is very clear.
Please.
That you
in this
cannot
case,
vary.
not down.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this,
you cannot vary to their disadvantage. No, those were in that class. They are not in that class.
It has a certain flow because the basis of the salary system that we are running is equity and all. Equal work, equal pay for work of equal value, and also when you are within a certain class, the relationships exist. You can't have a situation where the Supreme Court judges are high up there and there's a wide gap.
But you are minded that just like ministers and MPs and so on, you are not under the single pay salary structure.
Article 71, yes. But also, even in doing it, you also look at the relativities. You don't just say that 71 is sitting elsewhere.
I think this one is avoidable.
You are not going to look at.
It's avoidable.
Everybody will say it's avoidable.
If you are committed, focused, and look for where the money is and mobilize the money, this is avoidable.
Especially when one group is being paid and the other is not.
I'm telling you, it's avoidable.
Everybody will say it's avoidable.
Okay.
But also, you look
I think we can take a break, and then when we return, we can look at the matter between Martin Amidu, the Attorney General, and the
I'll tell you what.